Welcome to my YouTube channel, Coaching with Undress. My name is Coach Undress. Ladies, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. Look how cool this new setup is. The logo, the microphone. George, Alex, thank you so much. New year, new setup, new material, new approach. I'm pretty sure you're wondering what's my new approach. I'm going to tell you right now. My goal is to hear more of your stories. My goal is to talk to more of you. So what I want you to do, before the subscription, before even the topic, I want you to comment on this video, and I want you to give me a quick little summary of your dating situation, your relationship situation, and mention coaching that you're interested in. And I'll give you a special discounted price on any session you want, and we'll make this happen. When you comment and you share a little bit of what you're going through, if it's about this topic or something else, and you leave a little comment about coaching that you're interested in, I will give you a special discounted price so we can make sure you follow through with what you want in your love life. And that's what I want to do. That's what I do as a coach. Hold you accountable and responsible to what you want, your goals, your intentions in the dating world. That being said, today's topic, what men want in a woman. You know, prior to this video, I was talking to George over here, and he told me very clearly two things that he loves very much about his wife: support and understanding. You know, it's so interesting. Sometimes men want the simplest things, and sometimes a lot of you women think we want something different. You think, correct me if I'm wrong too, that we want something extravagant, materialistic, superficial, shallow, sexual. You might be right on a few of those. But ultimately, the right man, not the boy, not the player, not the swindler, the right man knows he wants a woman who's, like you said, supportive and understanding. Simple. It's the most valuable things, to be heard. Us men don't normally share our feelings so often, but when we do you guys actually listen to it? Women are better and more comfortable and more mature about expressing their feelings. They are. And us men, through this whole society and how everything's been set up, we become good listeners because women share more. But we don't share as much, so is it reciprocal? Is it mutual on that sense? I'm very curious. I want you to hear what we're talking about and leave a comment. Do women listen to men as good as men can listen to women? Because women usually share more than men. It's not about being right or wrong. It's not about being better or worse. It's just trying to make an observation about common behaviors and common situations I've seen in so many different relationships or coaching relationships about that. It's interesting. We're going to talk about 4 things on what men want in a woman. Number 1, an attractiveness. An attractiveness. Not the obvious, not just the external, exterior, the looks. The attractiveness, I know it sounds a little cliche and cheesy and corny, but it doesn't matter. I think you need to be reminded about that. There's so many complications and just toxic worlds and vibes in the dating world. We need to go away from that and simplify the approach, simplify the idea of love and relationships. So when I talk about attractiveness, it's a level of humility, confidence, not cockiness. Huge difference. Attractiveness on someone who takes pride in who they are and what they want to do and who they spend their time with. Attractiveness of this positive outlook on life, on positive perspective of knowing they get to do something compared to have to do something. This approach of attractiveness that they are not only happy with who they are, they only want to spend time with people who either increase, encourage, or inspire for more of that. Attractiveness to a point where you're not draining the other person. You're actually taking the time to listen and support what they want or what they're hearing. because the man's worth it and because you're worth it. So obviously this is only what men want in a woman towards the right man and the right woman in the right situation, not just some schmuck that you not just some schmuck that you swiped right with and you're like, well, I think he's the right man, so I'm going to give him what he wants. No, the right man who's shown you that he's the right man, which we talked about a lot of these different topics, and what you're looking for in the right man. This goes both ways, of course. Number 2, innocence. Innocence, but not innocence in the way where it's just gullible and young and inexperienced. No. Innocence in the sense where the woman is not testing or trying to make the man feel like he's constantly competing, not only with the men every day of the world where they're either hitting on you at the gas station or at the gym or at the office or at the grocery store. That's inevitable. But the idea of when you're with each other, not showing that intriguement or that openness to other men in front of him, or the biggest one, my goodness, how many times I've heard this from my clients, social media. Women, post whatever you want to a certain level of taste, of course. Post whatever you want in a sense of celebrating, let's say, being in shape or a new outfit or a new celebration of something. It's beautiful. But you also know, unfortunately, that's going to bring a lot of eyes of other single men trying to comment on that, trying to basically be your cheerleader, trying to be your fluffer in a sense of just making you feel important, loved, and needed. That's the thing about it. And I know it goes both ways, so I'm not going to say, oh, women, how dare you. Men do a certain thing as well. But when you feel like there's no competition with another man, that man is so committed to you. Because, again, being confident, being attractive, being likable, being popular, having a high status, beautiful thing. But there's got to be a fine line where you know that no other person is going to cross that line on my social media page. I'm not going to allow those kind of comments. I don't basically encourage or enable that behavior. If someone makes a derogatory or a sexual comment on your picture, I'm not going to like it. I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to unfollow that person because I'm protecting, first of all, my image and my page of what I'm representing. And also I'm protecting my relationship with the man I really want to get to know, the man I'm really involved with. That level of protection and keeping the relationship sacred in a very open world of just technology and social media is so important. It's healthy. It's respectful. Men love that because they know when they pick an attractive woman or a high valued woman or anything in that sense, that there's always going to be another man trying to compete. There's always going to be another man waiting for you to mess up. There's always going to be another man playing the guy in the friend zone until something blows up so he can make his shot. We get that. It's inevitable. We know that. But when you show that or you encourage that or you allow that competition to be shown or, let's say, flaunted on your pages or even in person when we're together, it's a very unhealthy, immature way of trying to feel important. We've all done it in some form. I've done it before when I was younger in my 20s, but it was stupid and it was wrong because obviously, getting the attention from other women had nothing to do with defining my value. It was just being young and dumb. So we've all done it, but we can't continue it. And if you still do it, then you have to really look at the relationship you're in, or if you're not in one, and wonder why or what's not working. So again, I'm not trying to discourage marketing yourself, promoting yourself, doing anything to show off anything that you deserve and earn because you work hard for. Go ahead. But you understand if you're with someone that you value and there's someone that you're really into, the right man, not a boy, the right man, you want to make sure you protect that level of engagement on your pages because he'll notice and he'll appreciate that because he's going to do the same thing for you. All right. Number 3. I was going to do number 2, but number 3. Number 3 on what men want in a woman. But before we get started, leave a comment. I want to hear what you all have to say about this. Leave a situation, a scenario. Give me a story. I want to hear your story. This is the year when I want to hear more stories. If you're interested in any coaching sessions, go to coachingwithundress.com. Mention coaching in your comment, and I'm going to offer you a special discounted price. All right? Here we go. Number 3. Loyalty. Loyalty. After basically showing that you're innocent because you're not showing competition with other men, that takes the next step of showing the loyalty that you have for this man, the loyalty you have for this relationship. And I know it goes both ways, of course. It has to. But I'm just saying, men really value that so much because we know we're pursuing the situation. We know we're initiating the situation. We know we're going to ask you out and basically do hopefully the right chivalry gentleman ways of treating you like a lady. I'm old school, so chivalry is not dead, ladies. But the loyalty that you get back outside of just basically the obvious of not seeing other men or being with other men, but the loyalty of protecting the relationship is such a beautiful thing. I always say this to my clients in the situation where, let's say it's a new dating situation, right? They mentioned many of these scenarios. And a guy doesn't know of your dynamic of this other guy, and he's kind of crossing the line. If it's at work, that's an event, party, bar, social media, whatever. He's starting to cross the line. And not that he's trying to be, that disrespectful to the guy that you're with. He just doesn't know. He just sees a pretty girl or a high-valued woman, and he's trying to make his, pitch to it. And I always say this. If you don't have the courage or the self-respect to make that situation with that stranger or that person uncomfortable in a respectful way to protect the person you do respect, there's something off there. If you can't make a stranger feel uncomfortable for a few moments, a handful of seconds, by politely rejecting it or redirecting it to a point where that's not going to happen, to protect the comfort and respect of the man that you are ultimately with, something's off. So when a woman protects the man that she's with and basically denies, rejects, flattered, but I'm sorry, I'm with someone and I'm really into who I'm with, but thank you. If you can't reject that and protect the loyalty of the man that you're with, something's off. And if you do that and you don't protect it, and he sees that, you're opening cracks in his mind of thinking, wow, if I'm not here, what would she do? What wouldn't she do? How far would she go? How much would she allow someone to obviously be flirting with her and not put her foot down? That's the loyalty what I'm talking about, not just the obvious of obviously sleeping with other people. I mean, that there is no loyalty in that, of course, but the loyalty of protecting the innocence of the relationship, because there's a lot of temptation, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of people who don't care. They really don't give a shit. There's a lot of people who don't have the respectful approach on when someone's taken. A lot of people don't respect the title. A lot of people don't respect relationships, unfortunately. It's unfortunate. So when you protect it and you have the loyalty to know what's important to you, then that's something that it's more rare than you think. It sounds so easily said and common sense, but it's actually more rare than you think. Number 4. What men want in a woman. Don't get confused by this one. Nurturing. And that, in a way, not babying, whatever you're thinking, not nurturing in that sense. We're not at a daycare. Nurturing in a sense, like George mentioned before the video started, what he values about his wife the most. She's a supportive woman who listens. That's nurturing. I don't need you to coddle me in your arms and feed me crackers. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that's the image of nurturing in my mind, but I guess it is crackers, not cookies. But nurturing in the sense of being supportive, being there for you, being understanding, being a good listener, turning off of the phone, not just one ear out the other. Nurturing in a sense where you got my back. You got my back. And it's very important because here's a quick little example of things, how like old school things are and why nurturing is such a valuable thing. Women want or value, let's say, not want, they value security from a man. And not in the sense of like providence or financial and whatever those other things are, which is the very common things. I'm talking about the root of security. If we're in a situation in public and something goes down, the man's going to step in front and take action, protect you. I always talk about this story that my dad used to teach me when I was young, and I used to always follow this advice and these rules in my dating stages. And the girls I was on dates with never understood what I was doing until I explained it. And they were like, wow, I didn't know that still exists. My dad would always say the level of security and protection. When you're walking on the sidewalk, and it's so funny, you never see this in the romantic comedy movies. They always portray it wrong. The guy should be closest to the street. You let the lady on the inside of the sidewalk. And I would joke about with my dad, and I was like, well, what happens if it's not a good date? What happens if I'm not getting along with her and it's not going so well? Well, God knows what you're doing. You will be rewarded somehow. But if you get hit by a car or a biker, you're doing the right thing, son. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to question that to a point. But overall, I'm saying I see the beautiful message, what he's saying. You never let a lady walk over a gate or a sewer or something on the ground that's basically misplaced. You never let a lady walk on the outside of the sidewalk towards the street. You keep them protected. The woman values and appreciates that level of protection, that level of security. What could a woman do to reciprocate that towards a man? But obviously it's not security or kicking somebody's butt, which if you could, awesome. If you can, love that. Nurturing. You want that level of security and protection from a man. If something goes down, men want a nurturing woman to be there for him. Let him know it's going to be okay. Appreciate that he's trying, but he's still, let's say, pushing through to get to the results. She appreciates the hustle. She appreciates the grind of who he is. Us men, we know our productivity of who we are as a man is based on results. And as a man, I'll tell you right now, we don't normally share the process of things. We just like to show results. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just the kind of common thing that we are as men. We like to show results. So when we have that nurturing woman, that nurturing partner who's like just comforting us during this tough time, asking if everything is okay, giving us 10 minutes to unwind when we come home from work compared to like just dropping so many questions and, issues. Someone who wants to hear about your day, someone who supports you through the thick and thin. Man, I want that. Men want that. We all want that. That being said, my name is Coach Andres with coachingwithandres.com. Thank you for tuning in. I'm loving this new setup. I know you are. I'm going to say it again. Make a comment, a little story about what you're going through. Put a little statement about you're interested in coaching, and I'll give you a special discounted price, and we will talk more in detail about what you're going through. This is the year. I want to hear more of your stories. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon.